Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus Detroit Lions. The Detroit Lions welcome the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to Ford Field on Monday in what promises to be one of the NFC's most telling mid-season clashes. The Lions enter at 4-2, unbeaten at home, and clinging to second place in the NFC North behind the Green Bay Packers. Tampa Bay, on the other hand, sits atop the NFC South at 5-1, unbeaten on the road, and intent on proving its hot start is no fluke. This is not merely a regular season matchup. It's a collision between two teams shaping their postseason identities. One, a rejuvenated powerhouse built on balance and toughness. The other, a veteran-laden contender leaning on resilience and a top-tier defense. The Lions, who have not lost consecutive games in nearly 3 years, will try to extend that remarkable streak. The Buccaneers, meanwhile, ride a 3-game winning streak, eyeing a commanding lead in their division. With both clubs sporting top 10 offenses and opportunistic defenses, Monday night's tilt could very well preview a playoff rematch. Quarterback play takes center stage as Baker Mayfield and Jared Goff headline the offensive battle. Mayfield's resurgence has anchored the Buccaneers' offense, completing 129 of 195 passes for 1,539 yards, 12 touchdowns, and just 1 interception, a testament to his newfound efficiency and command. Goff, no stranger to high-stakes moments, has been equally impressive with 1,390 passing yards, 14 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions on 132 completions out of 174 attempts. While Goff's numbers slightly trail Mayfield's in yardage, his precision and ability to stretch the field with Amon-Ra St. Brown and rookie tight end Sam Laporta have made Detroit's passing game one of the NFC's most unpredictable weapons. The matchup thus pits two quarterbacks on redemption arcs. Mayfield proving his staying power in a crowded NFC quarterback field, Goff solidifying his claim as a top-tier leader capable of elevating a franchise. Both have excelled in rhythm passing, but Goff's play-action prowess behind a disciplined offensive line could be decisive against Tampa Bay's aggressive front seven. Offensively, the Buccaneers thrive on spreading the ball and exploiting mismatches. When healthy, wide receiver Emeka Egbuka, 469 yards, 5 touchdowns, gives Tampa Bay a reliable vertical threat and strong route-running option that forces defenses into single coverage. His questionable hamstring status, however, looms large. Without him, Tampa Bay will rely on Chris Godwin and tight end Cade Otton to stretch Detroit's secondary. The ground attack remains the Buccaneers' biggest question mark. Rookie running back Bucky Irving has tallied 237 yards on 71 carries, but has yet to record a breakout game against a top-tier defense. His speed and cutback vision will be tested against Detroit's front, anchored by DJ Reader and, if available, Aleem McNeil. Mayfield's ability to use Irving as a check-down outlet could determine whether Tampa Bay maintains offensive balance or falls into predictable drop-back patterns. Detroit's offense tells a different story, one built on a cohesive run-pass blend and physical dominance up front. Rookie sensation Jahmyr Gibbs has been the Lions' spark plug, posting 390 rushing yards and 4 touchdowns on 87 carries, his versatility giving offensive coordinator Ben Johnson a constant mismatch advantage. His acceleration through the second level, combined with Goff's accuracy, has kept defenses guessing all season. Wideout Amon-Ra St. Brown remains the Lions' heartbeat with 452 receiving yards and 6 touchdowns. His chemistry with Goff unmatched across NFC duos not named Kupp Stafford. What makes Detroit so dangerous, however, is their situational efficiency, converting third downs at over 45% while ranking top 5 in red zone scoring percentage. That efficiency has allowed them to survive close calls and win shootouts, evidenced by a 38-30 victory over Baltimore and a narrow 34-10 dismantling of Cleveland earlier this season. Recent form paints a compelling contrast. The Buccaneers are coming off a commanding 30-19 win over San Francisco, where their defense forced 3 turnovers and Mayfield threw for 280 yards and 2 touchdowns. Prior to that, they survived Seattle's aerial barrage in a 38-35 thriller, their lone blemish over the last month being a 31-25 home loss to Philadelphia. Tampa Bay has won 3 of its last 5 games, posting 165 total points while allowing 151, demonstrating a knack for outlasting opponents in high-scoring contests. Detroit's last 5, by contrast, have showcased both their explosive offense and occasional defensive lapses. The Lions dismantled Cincinnati 37-24 and Cleveland 34-10, then held off Baltimore 38-30 before falling last week to Kansas City 30-17. They've scored 191 points while allowing 142, but their defense has shown vulnerability against elite quarterbacks, something Mayfield will surely look to exploit. The Lions' advantage lies at home, where they've averaged over 30 points per game this season. Defensively, both units bring distinct strengths. Tampa Bay's pass rush remains formidable, led by linebacker Yaya Diaby with 3 sacks and veteran Levante David's leadership anchoring the middle, though David's knee injury makes his status questionable. Safety. Trey Smith leads the team with 45 tackles, a tone setter whose range could be critical against Detroit's deep crossing routes. The Buccaneers' scheme under Todd Bowles emphasizes disguised pressures and tight coverage, forcing quarterbacks into quick decisions. But Detroit's offensive line has allowed the fewest sacks in the NFC, providing Goff time to dissect blitz packages. On the other side, Detroit's defense features disruptive edge rusher Aiden Hutchinson, who already has 6 sacks and remains a candidate for Defensive Player of the Year. Linebacker Jack Campbell leads with 56 tackles, his sideline-to-sideline presence vital to slowing Tampa's short passing attack. The Lions' secondary, however, has been thinned by injuries, with cornerback Terrion Arnold, shoulder, safety Kirby Joseph, knee, and defensive back Sione Vaki, groin, all ruled out until early November. That depletion could open windows for Mayfield to find rhythm early. Injuries could significantly shape the game script. Tampa Bay lists Egbuka, David, and quarterback Teddy Bridgewater as questionable, while running back Josh Williams and tackle Luke Haggard are out until later in October. Those absences affect depth and flexibility, particularly if David can't go, leaving a gap in coverage and tackling consistency. Detroit faces its own adversity with a depleted secondary and missing interior defenders. DJ Reader's back issue leaves him questionable, while McNeil remains on the PUP list following ACL surgery. Without their top 2 defensive tackles, the Lions could struggle to stop interior runs, something Tampa may try to exploit with Irving and end-around plays to spread the field. Still, Detroit's linebacker unit has proven adaptive, with Campbell and Alex Anzalone frequently filling gaps at the line of scrimmage. Both coaching staffs are playing chess, not checkers. Dan Campbell's Lions emphasize controlled aggression, 4th down confidence, tempo shifts, and emotional edge that make Ford Field one of the loudest venues in football. Bowles' Buccaneers are more measured, relying on calculated pressure and turnover creation. Statistically, Tampa Bay leads the league in takeaways with 12 through 6 games, while Detroit ranks top 5 in 3rd down defense. The matchup may well hinge on which side can impose their style. If Tampa Bay forces Goff into 3rd and long scenarios, their disguised blitzes could yield game-changing plays. Conversely, if Detroit's offensive line neutralizes the rush, the Lions' balanced attack will likely overwhelm a Bucs secondary that has been inconsistent against layered route concepts. Standings raise the stakes. Tampa Bay leads the NFC South at 5-1 with a plus 14-point differential, while Detroit sits 4-2 in the NFC North, tied with Chicago but trailing Green Bay by percentage. A Lions win pushes them to 5-2 and a potential division share. A loss sets back playoff positioning. Tampa Bay can use a win to cement NFC contender status ahead of tough matchups against the 49ers and Eagles. The psychological edge adds intrigue. Detroit's resilience, no back-to-back losses since 2022, meets Tampa Bay's road-tested opportunism. Mayfield's resurgence and Goff's continued efficiency make Monday's matchup a test of validation for both quarterbacks and their team's playoff credentials. X factors include Tampa Bay's Egbuka and Mayfield's pressure management, with Egbuka boosting Mayfield's passer rating by nearly 20 points. For Detroit, Gibbs' dual threat ability sets tempo and opens play action for Goff. Special teams could also tip field position, as Detroit excels in returns while Tampa's coverage is inconsistent. Prediction: Detroit 30, Tampa Bay 24. Analytics give Detroit a 61.3% win probability thanks to home dominance, a healthier offense, and depth at key positions. Goff's efficiency and Hutchinson's pass rush impact give the Lions a slight edge, while turnovers and red zone efficiency should decide the outcome in a closely contested game. In what should be a prime-time thriller, the Lions ride Gibbs' explosiveness and Goff's poise to a statement victory. Tampa Bay will make it a fight, but the Ford Field faithful will leave roaring as Detroit cements itself among the NFC elite. Prediction: Detroit Lions 30, Tampa Bay Buccaneers 24. The Lions continue their unbeaten home streak, while the Buccaneers regroup knowing their NFC South lead remains intact, but their ceiling still unproven. After analyzing both teams, my pick for this match is Detroit Lions winner. Drop your thoughts and predictions in the comments box. Houston Texans versus Seattle Seahawks. In a Week 7 showdown under the Seattle lights, the Houston Texans travel north to face the Seattle Seahawks at Lumen Field in a Monday night matchup that could shift early season momentum for both clubs. The Texans arrive at 2-3 overall and 1-2 on the road, fighting to stay afloat in the AFC South, while the Seahawks stand at 4-2 and 1-2 at home, looking to establish consistency in a competitive NFC West. Though both teams find themselves in vastly different stages of their development, their paths cross at a pivotal moment. Seattle's chase for NFC relevancy hinges on cleaning up mistakes and solidifying home dominance, while Houston's young core, led by second-year quarterback C.J. Stroud, aims to prove it can beat quality opponents away from NRG Stadium. This contest carries the intrigue of a statistical near deadlock. Analytical projections give Seattle a 50.8% edge to Houston's 48.8%, underscoring how tightly matched these squads are in overall form and roster health. The Seahawks enter having alternated wins and losses, while Houston rides the high of its most dominant performance of the season, a 44-10 dismantling of Baltimore. Both offenses feature young quarterbacks surrounded by emerging skill talent, and both defenses rank middle of the pack, but capable of game-changing plays. The storylines write themselves: Stroud's composure against Seattle's pressure, Sam Darnold's efficiency versus a resurgent Houston front, and two coaching staffs trying to shape their identity before mid-season. Quarterback duel: C.J. Stroud versus Sam Darnold. While the preview format often leans toward a pitching analogy, the quarterback duel in this contest serves the same function, a focal point determining the rhythm and ultimate outcome. C.J. Stroud continues to build on his rookie success, completing 102 of 144 passes for 1,076 yards, with 8 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. His efficiency, poise in the pocket, and accuracy on intermediate throws have carried an otherwise inconsistent Houston offense. Stroud's 70.8% completion rate ranks among the league's best for young passers, and his ability to avoid turnovers, particularly against heavy zone coverage, remains a defining trait. Against Seattle's complex secondary looks, that steadiness will be tested. Across the field, Sam Darnold has quietly reinvented himself in Seattle, completing 114 of 161 attempts for 1,541 yards, 11 touchdowns, and 3 picks. His 70.8% completion percentage mirrors Stroud's, but his deep ball accuracy and red zone confidence have been the difference in several Seahawks wins. Darnold thrives when the play-action game functions, allowing him to hit dynamic weapons like Jackson, Smith, and Jigba downfield. However, Houston's defense, which has allowed just 61 points through 5 games, the fewest in the AFC South, may limit those explosive plays. The quarterback who best handles third down pressure and avoids turnovers is likely to dictate the flow of the game. Darnold's veteran savvy gives him the edge in pre-snap recognition, but Stroud's rhythm, passing, and movement within the pocket have matured rapidly. Expect both teams to script their opening drives around short throws to establish confidence, setting up later shots downfield. The chess match between Stroud's patience and Darnold's aggressiveness will define the night. Offensive leaders, power backs, and precision receivers. The ground game could tilt the balance of this matchup. Seattle's Kenneth Walker III remains the more explosive rusher, logging 364 yards and 3 touchdowns on 78 carries, averaging 4.7 yards per attempt. His burst through inside gaps and cutback agility fit perfectly into Seattle's zone-blocking scheme. When Walker finds rhythm, the Seahawks' play action becomes lethal, allowing Darnold to attack single coverage. However, Houston's run defense, anchored by Alshair's 32 tackles and Hunter's edge-setting ability, has held opponents below 3.8 yards per carry this season. For Houston, Nick Chubb's 249 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns on 58 carries show efficiency, but also limited usage. The Texans rely on balanced play calling, using Chubb as a stabilizing force rather than a volume workhorse. When Chubb surpasses 70 yards, Houston tends to control tempo and field position. With Seattle missing linebacker Derek Hall out oblique and safety Julian Love questionable with a hamstring injury, Houston may test the middle of the Seahawks defense early and often. If Chubb can get to the second level, Stroud's play action will open up passing lanes against an injury-thinned secondary. The aerial battle features 2 dynamic receiving tandems at different stages of development. Houston's Nico Collins leads the team with 312 yards and 3 touchdowns on 22 receptions, thriving as Stroud's go-to target on slants and crossers. Collins' physicality and body control make him dangerous in contested situations. His chemistry with Stroud continues to blossom, giving Houston a legitimate WR1 presence. Seattle counters with Jackson, Smith, and Jigba, who's been one of the NFC's breakout receivers. He leads the Seahawks with 696 yards on 42 receptions and 3 touchdowns. Smith and Jigba's route precision and yards after catch ability stretch defenses horizontally, complementing Darnold's quick trigger accuracy. The Texans' secondary, already down cornerback Elijah Huzzie and Jalen Smith, faces a major challenge in keeping him contained. Expect Houston to rotate coverages and mix in disguised pressures to disrupt timing routes. Seattle's vertical passing could win in big play scenarios, while a possession battle favors Stroud and Chubb, controlling the clock and limiting Darnold's opportunities. Team form and recent trends, momentum favors Houston, at least statistically. Over their last 5 games, the Texans have gone 2-3, but dominated their 2 wins, a 44-10 statement over Baltimore and a 26-0 shutout against Tennessee. Those victories showcased their potential when both sides of the ball click. The defense, allowing just 61 points in 5 contests, has emerged as one of the league's most disciplined units. Their losses, however, reveal volatility. Narrow defeats to Tampa Bay, 19-20, and the Rams, 9-14, highlight offensive inconsistency. Still, coming off their most complete game, Houston enters this week brimming with confidence. Seattle, on the other hand, continues its roller coaster ride. They sit at 4-2 but have yet to establish a clear identity. A 38-35 home loss to Tampa Bay exposed their defensive vulnerabilities, particularly in red zone containment. However, wins over Pittsburgh, 31-17, and Arizona, 23-20, demonstrated resilience and offensive explosiveness. The Seahawks pattern has been predictable. They win when Darnold is efficient and Walker controls the ground tempo, but struggle when forced into shootouts. Their 166 points scored rank among NFC leaders, yet their 117 allowed underscore inconsistency in closing games. The key for Seattle will be turning Lumen Field into the fortress it once was. They're only 1-2 at home this season. Standings and playoff outlook. As mid-season nears, Houston sits 2-3 in the AFC South behind Indianapolis and Jacksonville. Despite a losing record, their defense keeps them in contention. A win here could tighten the division race and restore confidence heading into a favorable schedule stretch. For a franchise still rebuilding under new leadership, each win reinforces belief in Stroud's long-term potential and the team's developing core. A loss, conversely, risks falling into a 2-4 hole, difficult to climb from in a competitive AFC. Seattle sits 4-2 in the NFC West, trailing LA and tied with San Francisco, making every divisional win crucial. A win over Houston would boost their wild card position and home momentum ahead of tough games against the 49ers and Rams. Monday's matchup could be a turning point for consistency and playoff relevance. Injuries and depth impact. Both teams enter banged up, with Houston missing Kirk, Huzzy, Autry, and others, thinning their secondary against Seattle's deep receiving core. Alshire and Hunter remain key for the Texans. Seattle's sidelined players include Hall, Ousts, Love, Witherspoon, and Jones, potentially creating mismatches for Stroud. Injury depth could impact late-game fatigue, with the healthier team likely controlling the final minutes. X factors that could swing the game. Key X factors. Houston's pass rush, anchored by Hunter and Alshire, could disrupt Darnold and Seattle's rhythm. Seattle's red zone efficiency, especially Smith-Njigbaa's separation, may decide scoring opportunities. Time of possession matters. Chubb's success could slow Seattle, while Walker's running could swing tempo. Special teams, tested by Lumen Field's wins, could quietly tip the game. Prediction: Seattle edges Houston in a tight one. On paper, this is a chess match between developing teams. Houston comes in confident after beating Baltimore, but Seattle's home field edge and offensive balance make them slight favorites. Expect a run-focused, low-turnover start, with Seattle's depth and Smith-Njigbaa likely tipping momentum by the fourth quarter. Projected score: Seattle Seahawks 27, Houston Texans 23. Darnold's command and Walker's versatility provide just enough cushion to withstand Stroud's late-game push. Houston's young core continues to impress, but Seattle's experience and home field energy prevail in the closing moments. Still, if Stroud and Collins connect early and Chubb finds lanes against a patchwork defense, the upset potential remains real. This one promises drama until the final whistle, exactly the kind of prime-time clash that defines mid-season football. After analyzing both teams, my pick for this match is Seattle Seahawks winner. Drop your thoughts and predictions in the comments box.